Hi, I'm Esther and I've managed to complete a no spend January. So this year I decided to do a no spend stroke low spend January. What is that? So basically I'm only spending money on essentials or things I really need. So it's impossible to do an absolutely no spend any money. So I prefer the term low spend, so you are spending on things that you actually need. And this is my review of the month of January 2025, doing a no spend. 10 things, giving you the pros, and I found 5 cons. Here goes. It's felt like a real budget detox, is the best way to describe it when you go on a low spend. Really makes you mindful and think about your spending. So I'm just going to go straight into my top 10 things. It makes you very mindful about your addiction to spending, that thrill of the chase, the thrill of the happy mail, the thrill of the purchase, and that buzz it gives you, that excitement it gives you, and that fix that you get from purchasing. And it's interesting, isn't it? We all do it, we all love it, and it doesn't last. It's never lasting. You know, you get the joy for a little while and then it peters away. So that was one pro, really kind of thinking about that addiction to spending and that fix. It made me think about wants and needs. Quite often we want things because we see them. We want things because we like them. Do we need them? And I've kind of asked myself that before, but being on this restricted no spend month, it made me think, do I actually need it? Do I need this item? Have I got something already? So being resourceful, using what I had already. The amount of times I went to click on something on Amazon thinking, oh, I need that. And then finding actually I've got something I can use already. I don't need to buy it. There's something I've got in my home which would be perfectly fine, perfectly usable for the job. So be resourceful with what you've got. Have a look around. Before you click that buy button, have I got something I can use already? One of the obvious ones is saving money. By not spending, you're ending up saving yourself money. There wasn't many times I wanted to buy things this month because I deliberately held myself back. But it's amazing how much you end up saving by not actually buying that thing you just want. Considered spending. So it made me appreciate when I did have to spend, because it really made me think if I really did need it. Did I have anything already? So those spends were very considered, and I was like, oh, do I actually need it? Another thing was time to mull over less impulse buys. So, you know, if you give yourself more time, you're not rushing into buying things and that impulse spend. You think, oh, I'm on this no spend. Do I really want to break it by impulsively, is that a word? Impulsively buying this item? And instead, it gave myself time to think, right, hold on a minute. Do I want to break it for the sake of this item? And then when you don't buy it, you don't actually miss the item because you tend to forget about it a week later, or you've had more time to mull over it to think, oh, did I actually need it? And the likelihood is no, because you would have bought it. This next one is a bit of a sensitive one for me because I love a charity shop bargain. I'm there with the charity shops, and I do love a bargain. And it stopped those impulse buys and the frivolous spending. As much as I love to support charities through buying through their charity shops, it did make me... Now, I think charity shops are a little bit tricky because whatever is there is usually a one-off. And if you don't buy it, then somebody else might buy it. So that's what I find tricky about charity shops. They tend to be more impulse purchases because they are one-off items. But yeah, it did stop the frivolous spends. I can only think of one item that I saw, which was an item of clothing that I was very tempted to. But I gave myself reason not to buy it because I thought I'd love to have my colours done to see what colours suit me. And I don't know if navy blue is one of those colours yet because I've not had my colours done. So that was one thing that stopped me. And £7 for what it was, I was like, maybe if it was a fiver, would have gone for it. So yeah, that's been maybe a tricky thing, but thankfully there hasn't been too much in the charity shops that I've wanted to buy that's made me stop having to buy anything. Now this is an interesting one: the hours of work versus the item spent. If you start considering what your hourly rate of pay is if you are working versus how much you're spending on an item, that definitely makes you think twice. If I think how many hours it's taken me to work to pay for an item, I'm like, whoa, that's a good hour of my time. And work is work. Work is hard, isn't it? So that's another great way to help you with your no spends. I've found myself not craving, or shall I say, not having the habit of flicking through my phone and looking for things to buy. Particularly on Amazon. So I've got a wish list on Amazon, and I use that to put anything on that I'd like for a birthday or Christmas or that type of thing. So I can use my Amazon list. If there's things that I like or would or want or need, it will go on the Amazon list. So more kind of treat stuff that maybe I would normally just buy it. It will go on my wish list instead of me just clicking and buy it. But I think it's a hobby in its own right, sitting and just scrolling through whatever shopping apps, Vinted, eBay if you're a secondhand shopper, Amazon, your favourite clothing shops, whatever it is. It's broken that habit of scrolling for the sake of scrolling and shopping. And lastly, and this is all in no particular order, it's just kind of brain dumping my thoughts. It's not been as hard as I thought. Whether that's because I've done it in January, and January tends to be a natural detox month, I don't know. And it's probably a month that I don't have a lot of events on. It's after Christmas when you probably want to spend less. So, yeah, choose your month, I would say. And if you think a month is just too much, just try a week. Try a day. Try a few hours. No, seriously, I'd give it a go. Just see if you can do it. I really, honestly didn't think I'd do it for a whole month. In fact, I avoided it last year because I didn't think I'd do it. So, going on to the cons next. In the grand scheme of things, these cons aren't major cons, but I was like, I want to balance this out with some cons, and I could only think of 5. So, here they are. No change for challenges. So because I'm not spending physical cash, if they are spends, they tend to be through the bank, which obviously essential purchases or planned purchases. So I've not spent a lot of money out of my purse at all, which means I'm not gaining any change. So that change can't go into my penny challenges and things like that. So is that a bad thing? Don't know. Just means I'm not getting any pennies. I found it almost became obsessive not to spend. Like, I would really be like, do anything I can not to spend. And that's almost a bit extreme. So, if you're hungry and you fancy some chips for lunch, I'm like, no, what can you eat from home first? I mean, little things like that. So, yeah, it almost becomes like an obsession not to spend because you don't want to be breaking your no spend month. And that leads on to not treating myself as much, maybe. So maybe you're more used to just, I don't know, buying a little bar of chocolate or whatever it is that you do to just treat yourself, keep you going. But sometimes I suppose that also brings me to the point, do you need to spend money to treat yourself? There's plenty of things you can do. You can go for walks, you can do your hobbies, you can do other things for free, treating yourself without spending money. So that's food for thought. Having to resist in charity shops, so I've touched on this a bit. But like I said, there hasn't been anything majorly, particularly, that I've wanted to buy. But just generally, I've avoided too much charity shopping in case there is anything that I've come across. Again, it's not really a bad thing, but I suppose that in a sense it was part of my hobby to go shopping in charity shops, to have a browse. And you still can browse, can't you? I can browse. But it's that resisting and buying. But it makes me think, oh, do I really need it? And I kind of think that my no spend has spilled into decluttering as well. So the other thing is, do I want to bring more junk into my house after I've decluttered? So that's kind of come hand in hand. So I do a couple of receipt apps. Now, with some of these popular receipt apps, they have a waiting list, so they've got enough people signed up already, and so you can't always go on them. You gain points and you fill out short questionnaires to get points, which in turn can either get vouchers or money or PayPal. So because I'm not spending, I'm not getting as many receipts to load on my apps. Again, not a disastrous thing. My husband goes shopping and other family members, so I can load up their receipts anyway. So in conclusion, am I going to carry on with my no spends? Am I going to turn it into a no spend year? What's going to happen now? We are now at the beginning of February, and I'm going to play it by ear and see how it goes. So I've had to have some spends already this month, but they've been essential spends. I think I might not be as lenient on myself, but who knows? So I might try and keep you updated. Just carry on watching my channel, and thank you for watching this video. Let me know down below in the comments what you've taken away from it. I'd love to know if you are going to try a no spend, and your thoughts on that as well. Okay, so take care. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.